Friday afternoon, and I'm excited to be here with you today. We're going to be talking about the undeniable method. And specifically, we're going to be talking about how to identify who the heck are you? When when I was growing up, I remember oftentimes my parents or my mom would be like, "Well, who do you think you are?" I am me. That's who I am. So we're going to get into it today. We're going to be talking about the undeniable identity method, what it is, and how to tap into your own personal identity method. So I would love to, as you are all joining me here today and engaging in this conversation, I would love to see and hear, right? Who is here today? I'm going to put you here in the chat. I'm going to be watching out for the chat as well as it's coming through. Let's look at this thing. Yes. So, and as the chat is coming through and you guys are joining, I'm going to give you minutes because I know there's a little bit of a delay between the live and the chat. But let's get into it. So again, my name is Brooklyn, and I am America's Chief Happiness Officer. That's right. That's actually a title that was coined in a few conferences ago, and I'm like, let's go. I'll take it. And that, in fact, is what we're going to be talking about: is who are you? Your identity literally is the driving force that helps you to accomplish so much. And let me ask you, if you have gotten a chance to watch the rave of a film, Wicked for Good, or any, the Wicked film or any of that, can you imagine anyone else besides Cynthia being being the character of Elphaba? Anybody in your mind could be that character except for Cynthia Erivo or Glinda, right? Ariana Grande. When they took the stage with that film, they embodied the character personality and the identity of that role, which is why it will be another 50 or maybe 100 years. Somebody else will play those roles, and perhaps we would have forgotten what those characters might be by then. But people are going to do a nod back to the original, because the identity was so clear. When your identity is clear, when people understand who you are and what you stand for, and you show up in the workplace in that way, you're undeniable. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, is how to tap into that. Because, my friends, having an undeniable identity has nothing to do with confidence. People think it's because, oh, you're super confident. No, it's identity. Is that you fully understand who you are and what you're here to do. And I'm checking out here, make sure that as you're joining in today, have comments. And listen, if you watch the replay and some of the things I'm saying is resonating for you, by all means, put it in the chat as well, because I will be reading those messages and responding to them. So let's get into it. So today we really are going to tap into this concept of understanding, what I call the undeniable identity method. And the undeniable identity method was a result of me writing this book right here, Be Undeniable. The reason why I wrote the book is because I wanted to help people tap into their mindset, tap into the one part of their brain that's going to help them to be successful, and that is how you think. And then going deeper with that is, well, how do I think about myself? How do I see myself in the world? If you see yourself in a particular way, you're going to get those results. How you see yourself, you will in fact get those results. So when you're looking at your life, you're looking at your overall results in life or even at work, you say, okay, well, what am I getting? How am I being? All that is a result of your identity. So understand this is not the same as personal branding, although personal branding does play in a role, or identity does play into personal branding, but it's not just personal branding. It's really about you understanding that oftentimes it is not just the skill and the talent that gets you to the next place. It's how do you view yourself, and then how do you bring that forward? How do you show up in a way that, your identity is really resonating with the people that you engage with? And that's important. So by the end of today, you will understand, or today's session, this is not about effort. In fact, ironically, it's not even about confidence. It's about identifying what is the block, what is getting in the way of your momentum. My friends, once you understand what's getting in the way of your momentum, everything changes. And I'm going to teach you how to shift how you've perceived yourself. So, but because it's not about trying harder, it's about understanding your identity. So here's what I discovered is the sort of the core problem. The core problem is that most people think that to be visible, to be seen, to be promoted, to get, to get promoted, to get booked, to be seen, it's all about, well, I gotta, be out there and be visible. But it's not just about being visible, it's who are you being when you're being visible, right? What's your identity? And if your internal identity is unclear, it affects the outside world. Let me say it again. If your internal identity is unclear, it affects your outside world. Just like when you're watching a film or when you're, say, for example, watching a stand up or you're watching anybody perform on a stage, if you don't quite believe them or the way they're delivering their role is not believable, you can't really emotionally connect and resonate with that performer. The same thing happens in your role. And you may not necessarily be on stage from the standpoint of a performer, a keynote performer, or like a speaker, but perhaps you're, in your job, it's the same thing, you're performing. So the question then becomes, who are you really being? But then if the person you're being is not in alignment with who you are inside, you're incongruent. So when you're incongruent, what I find is that most people who are really good at this, at getting really connected with who they are, finding what they call their voice, tend to do and get paid for things they really love to do. And it has an impact. You can see the results in their everyday life. Also, if you're on here and just checking in with my team too, that I got sound. I know I was told before that maybe there was a little sound. Okay, good. So hopefully we are good on sound. Okay, so what is the undeniable identity method? And from my standpoint, the undeniable identity method is when you fully trust yourself. You trust yourself without any holdback, right? You fully trust yourself and it's immediate. And what I find is that when you trust yourself implicitly, sometimes you have to make choices that are difficult, or perhaps you have to do things you probably didn't think you'd do because you believe in yourself and you have more value for who you believe you are than perhaps being afraid. But what happens is that when we are not in alignment or congruent with our identity, we tend to have fear, worry, doubt, procrastination, hesitation. Those are the telltale signs that we're not in alignment. But here's the thing, it makes sense because what happens is most of our behavior is ruled by our subconscious mind. In other words, 95% of our behavior is ruled by our subconscious mind and it's automatic. You don't even have to think about it. It's automatic. But someday at some point you had to input that information into your mind as to who you're going to be and how you're going to be. So what happens is when you're trying to do something that is new, is uncommon, you're not used to it, your neurology, your nervous system says, hold on, we haven't done this before. And it will try to hold you back because who you are and how you're trying to be is not in alignment. And when they're not in alignment, what happens is you will hold back. So if you are right now trying to figure out your next step, your next level, whether that's your career, your business, whatever it is, and you're trying to do something you've never done. And I'm saying this specifically because right now, this is the time where people tend to create goals and, do New Year resolutions. And here we are 2 weeks into the year. And I bet some of those resolutions, where are they? Put in the chat. Are your resolutions written down? Are you on your way? And if you are, fantastic. But for most people, they kind of probably given up at this point. And again, it's not there's something necessarily wrong with what's going on or wrong with your goals and ideas, is that your internal identity is not in alignment with the person that you want to become or the things you want to do. So then you say, well, hey, how do I fix that? Well, no kidding. That's what we're going to be talking. That's what we're talking about today here, and that is the adapting the undeniable identity method. And here is the steps for. So how do you uncover that? Okay. So step one, you got to become radically honest with yourself. Radically honest with yourself, and decide who it is that you are currently being. Who it is you're currently being. So, say for example, you want to do presentations and you're deathly afraid, like, oh my gosh, I just can't get in front of a camera or in front of people. I get deathly afraid. Well, who are you being? I'm being fearful. I'm holding back, right? That's who you're being. And so what you want to do is to figure out, hey, first of all, how do I want to be? Well, my future state is I want to be a solid, confident presenter. I want to have my ideas set in stone. I want to have a set of things that I'm going to be talking about and really believe in what I'm saying. Okay. Then the first thing you got to do is to give yourself permission to be that new person. I'm going to say it again. You got to give yourself permission. And I have a keynote called Permission to Play. And this is what I talk about in that keynote is the power of giving yourself permission to do the thing you want to do. Who's going to say no? Who's going to say no? If you want to be a powerful presenter, why couldn't you? Who's going to say no? You know who's going to say no? Your internal guidance system, who says, but we're not now. And the minute you try to have mantras or affirmations to see yourself as a great presenter, your brain will call BS on that. And then you don't accomplish the things you want, you hold back. And then when you have an opportunity to speak up, you're like, oh, no, I can't. I don't know what to say. It's not, people won't listen to me. I'm not an expert. People, all these excuses come up because your identity is not in alignment with who you want to be. So the first thing you want to do is what? Give yourself permission. And I say permission to play. Allow yourself to give yourself permission. So in the chat, as you listen to this, even the replay, comment permission. If it's making sense. The first thing is give yourself permission to be, internal permission to be the person it is you want to be. And it could be as simple as saying, yes, I am that person. Be that person. Tell yourself, you know what? Yes, be that person. Be the person that does X, Y, Z. Be the person that, again, is a great presenter, is a great business person, is a great business owner, whatever your role, the thing that you want to do, give yourself internal permission. The second step, because once you've granted yourself permission, you now have to be in what I call energetic congruence. Energetic congruence. That means that your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, even your voice and how you hold your body and how the things that you do and the decisions you make match that internal identity. The person you gave yourself permission to be, now my energetic being is congruent with that being that I'm trying to be. Are you with me? If you listen to this later, by the way, in the chat, say energy. Type in energy. You want to be energetically congruent with that person that you want to be. Now, I don't have time to get into it today, but there is a significant science-based, proven reason why this matters, and it has to do with the fact that your nervous system, your neurology, has to be in alignment with your thoughts and emotions, with the way you want to be, because you now have a new picture. When you're creating a new picture, right, your brain's like, well, we don't know all the bits. Well, because there are these things called neurotransmitters, and neurotransmitters in the brain are these tentacles that communicate information from one neurotransmitter to the other that begins to create, and it's also known in science as neuroplasticity. When you are doing something new that you've never done before, your brain is going to make connections. But in order to make those new connections, it has to be repetitive. And here's the incredible thing: it has to believe it. Otherwise, there's no point that the brain is going to create energy to make those connections in the brain. Again, this is, I can geek out on the science of this, but it's absolutely fascinating how when you believe, and this is a great book called The Power of Belief, when you believe in a particular thing and you believe it with which is why I say believe something wholeheartedly, then your brain says, oh, this matters to you. This is important to you. So because it's important to you, I'm going to make connections to make memory. Your brain is not here, doesn't care whether you fail or succeed. It's here to keep you safe and to keep you alive. So if it says, hey, I now care about being a great presenter, in our example here, I now see myself as a phenomenal world-class presenter, then the brain says, oh, this is how I see myself now. And it starts to create memory that you're a great presenter. And when you believe it, you create memory. Memory then says, okay, we've done this before. No reason why I couldn't do it again. Let's play. Let's do it. So you have to be, step 2 is an energetic congruence. And step 3 is external signals. And by external signals means that this is where your identity starts to leak through into the world. I can't tell you how many times I've done keynotes, events, speaking, training, it doesn't matter what it is, one-on-ones, and I hear the same word uttered back from my clients every single time. Wow, your energy. There's something about your energy. Type in the comments if this is a thing for you too. Something about your energy. People are excited by it. They have a sense of positivity and happiness when they're around me. Well, the reason for that is because my internal identity is now congruent with my external signals and my external world. And therefore, the results I'm getting in my life and in my business and my career is a result of being in alignment with my identity. So then I start thinking, behaving, and taking action and taking steps just like the person that I see myself to be within. Now, there's a bunch of psychology around this, of course, and if you're familiar with all kinds of different psychology, psychology talks about this, which is basically when your internal identity matches your external desire, your external, think of yourself like an inside self and outside self, when they both are mirroring each other and they're identical, there is congruency. When there's congruency, trust that you will not only be happier, you will get better results in your business, in your career, in anything that you do. So, my friends, here's the key. The reason why this matters, okay, is because a common mistake that most people do when they start to hit this what I call the leadership edge, when your self leadership goes up against the edge of who you are and who you're becoming. A common mistake that people start making is, oh, okay, well, I gotta perhaps fix something external, or I have to become more confident, or maybe it's my content. Listen, oftentimes what happens is your identity will need to get reassurance. So you have to keep practicing seeing yourself, speaking to yourself, engaging with yourself as a person you want to be on the outside. But you got to do it internally. Why? So that the neuroconnectors make connections and the brain creates a memory of who you wanting to be. And then you see what happens. Because most people believe things like, I'm not enough. I don't think this could be for me. I don't think this is going to work out. And the minute you want to try to do something, ever notice this? If the minute you try to do something, immediately your brain starts to hold you back if it doesn't have what? Memory. If it doesn't have a memory about it, it doesn't know what to do. It doesn't have any resources around that. It hasn't created any plan, any strategy. Because by the way, we all have an internal strategy by which we focus, by which we work. We have an internal strategy by which we do the things that we do. And if the brain does not have an internal strategy, it will hold you back. Not because it's trying to help, sabotage you, but because it doesn't have a strategy. It's like literally not having a map. And when you don't have an internal map to get to a particular location, right? Your mental GPS goes, warning, warning. No, that we don't, you have a destination, we have no map to. And it's our job to create a map of that. And the way that the brain constructs itself and creates a map to a particular behavior is by, first of all, seeing it, feeling it, repeating it. Right? So you have to see yourself like that new person you want to be. You start to feel like that new person you want to be, and consequently start behaving, start thinking, start embodying that new behavior. And then it gets to test and go, oh, now I have a what? A map. Now I have a way to get to the thing that I want to do. Now I have a way to do that. So no way, no reason to be afraid. If I'd gone down this road before, there's no reason to be afraid. What fear does, or what fear is an indicator that you don't have the map towards the thing that you want to accomplish. I said again, the reason why you're feeling fear when you want to do something you've never done is simply because you don't have a map to the thing. Or worse, you're envisioning the worst. And therefore, the map is saying, this is terrible, this is hard, this is no good. Your nervous system says, threat, threat, threat. I've never done this before. Let's pull back. And it's very, very good at this because the brain's job is to conserve energy. And if the current energy that it has is that, look, I don't have a way to do this, so therefore I'm not gonna jump on this. It will hold you back, and you will still start feeling procrastination. You start physically feeling tired. I don't want to do this. Maybe I want to take a nap. Maybe I want to go for a walk. You start getting distracted. It has tremendous tools and capabilities that you're not even aware of to ensure that you are staying safe. So the way that we combat that actually, or help the brain, is by giving it a map. Okay. So again, here's how you do, again, just as a recap for your, how to tap into your undeniable identity. Number one is you give yourself permission. Okay. Give yourself permission to be the person you want to be. Second is you must absolutely become energetically congruent to the person that you're wanting to be. Okay. And then third, external external signals, right? So are you performing in the way that you want to perform? Are you getting the results? Are you getting the feedback from your external environment? If you are, you're on track. If you're not, keep working on it. Okay, keep working on it. So again, the external signals though are referencing to how you speak, how you think, right? The things you tolerate, the things that you literally say no to. Also very important, how fast you decide to take action. This, my friends, are all external signals that you are in alignment with who you're trying to be, right? How quickly you make decisions, super important. So this is the key. And as you're listening to this, if you've stayed this long, comment energy as you're watching the replay. If you're afraid, you have doubt, you have fear and worry about what you're trying to do, that is this huge signal, external signal, you're not in alignment. So it's time for you to get into alignment. So in closing, I just want to say this. If any of this resonates for you, there is a QR code here on the screen that you can tap into, okay? Or comment undeniable or DM me. And I will also follow up with a tool that will help you to put this into practice, okay? Here's the bottom line. You don't need permission. You don't need to shrink yourself. When your identity is clear, your presence overall becomes undeniable. I can't wait to see you on the next live. This is Brooklyn, America's Chief Happiness Officer. I'll see you on stage.